There we are, the sign of a saint. Da, 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 direct from a knight. And here it is, V. Saint V. How are you, V?
I'm good. Don't know about the same part, but yeah, it's good to be here.
How are you handling this heat?
Oh, I mean, I'm doing pretty well because as you can see, my skin is quite thin, and what happens is my blood veins are close to the skin, so my body dissipates heat quite easily. My body's
Ah,
designed for handling that level of heat.
well, I've never thought that anybody would call me sick before in quite that context, but there we are. Now we've got it sorted. Right. For those of you who don't know, Saint V is a remarkable man. First of all, he is very, very knowledgeable about IT. Second of all, he understands that those of us at a certain age may have some problems. Thirdly, he helps us with those problems and doesn't have a call out fee to start off with. He comes and he discusses with you what's wrong and how you might fix it. Only then does the clock start. That saves you a tremendous amount of money compared to other people. So there you are, get a good look at him, the saint, trundling down the road, ready to strike at any minute. How has it
And
been, Lee?
yeah, I've been good. I've been good. I've been saving people from their anxieties and stress and worries. In fact, that's the topic for today's show. We're going to be talking about what causes people anxiety, stress, and worries and fear. Fear, like how to not be fearful with technology, and also how we can use technology as a tool. So we're going to talk about it from a positive point of view, from a view of how can I use it instead of it using me.
That's great because um, as somebody who sees, generally speaking, the glass half full, I am sort of subject to anxiety because I'm over 21 now. And apparently, when you get over 21, these sort of things strike. So I'm quite anxious to hear what you have to say, as well as your following and your fan club. So
Awesome.
here we go. V the Saint on anxiety and worry and concern when you get to as far as IT that won't work. Away you go.
All right, great. Thanks a lot, Keith. I think this really rings home true for a lot of people, especially who didn't grow up with technology. I mean, if you know someone that has not grown up with technology, you'll kind of hear regularly what they have to say about it. They'll say, "What does this do?" or "Why does that happen?" or "Why does it change? I didn't even do anything, and now this doesn't work." Or, there's a lot of anxiety and frustration that happens automatically because things get updated, things change. Well, who's making those changes? you know, who said it's okay to make those changes? How do I stop those changes? How do I be in control of those changes not automatically happening? So we're going to go back to this anxiety and stress and the concern that people have with um, technology in general, and it's like mainly aimed at people who necessarily it's not of a particular age genre, but it's for anyone. I mean, for example, I met someone at a pizza stall in the summer fair in Tulscombe, and he's 31, and he was like, I'm terrible with technology, and I was shocked. I thought it only applied to people that didn't grow up with tech, but no, anxiety and frustrations of tech affects anyone of any age who basically just affects anyone.
Yes, I think we have to look at IT technology in the same way that we would look at art. If somebody came to me as an art expert and said, "Can you paint a picture?" I would immediately think, "Oh, what the hell are they asking of me?" No, technically, I can hold the brush. Technically, I can dip it into the paint. But after that, I have no idea what to do. And I think it's the same approach that you have with people that come to you, and it doesn't matter what age. Some people will look at you and say, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You know, it's not their business. It's not some people or anyone's business to know how to use the technology. You know, it's just put there in front of us. Someone's decided, like, here is something that would be good for you. Well, did anyone ask me if it would be good for me?
Yeah, quite.
Yeah.
Right.
Did anyone ask me, this is the wording for this menu, or this is where things should be, or this is how the app should work, or this is how the website should operate and how it could be navigated? You know, like nobody's really got a say in it. It's just these business owners and creators and developers who think, oh, this would be good. This would be good for the whole world. Let's create a like button. Let's create, you know, a dislike button. You know, it's like someone's chosen to create these things.
Yeah.
You know, there's not been any inquiry with the human population. It's just someone in a business or a business owner or a group of um, designers or programmers or developers or leaders. Someone said, "Oh, let's do this. Keep it simple for people, and just give them a couple of options. Because if you give them too many options, they'll just make our life more difficult. So we'll make it simple for people. We'll give them this is how to use it, and that's it. There's no other way. You can't make us choose the way we design this program or app or website."
Can I just ask you, V, because I've noticed more and more and more that with the advent of IT, and I'm not anti-IT, by the way, I use it. Um, I can be doing something that is totally unrelated to IT, and suddenly somebody will come and kidnap that page. A lot of people say, "Well, that's IT for you." What's the truth of the matter, and how do you prevent it if it is?
Oh, well, I'll have to get a bit more context to understand what you mean by someone or something came along and kidnapped that page. Can you give me some more context, a bit more information about
Well,
that situation?
I might be busy on something that you asked me to do for Mirador television, and I got a page open, and I'm working away on it, and suddenly a thing will come and say, "You have you seen on Facebook, you know, Auntie Jane being bullied by her son? Go there right now." Um, that sort of thing happens.
Oh, you mean like pop-ups?
Yeah.
Ah, okay, yeah,
Is that what they're
yeah.
called?
Well, yeah, that's yeah. I mean, that's one. Yeah, you know, pop-ups. That's literally what they do, right? They pop up. You know, that's again, it's a word that's been created by someone or someone. You know, pop up, and on the screen somewhere, it could be the top, could be that side, could be the left, or bottom right, and bottom left, and then it's like we have to do something. We have to either click on X or click on maybe some option settings cog, which then allows us to turn off those notifications, or we have to go into the bottom right corner of our Windows machine if you've got Windows 11 or 10, and then we click on, well, Windows 11, sorry, and then we click on do not disturb mode so that we don't get any pop-ups. Yeah, there's a way to disable
Do not
pop-ups.
disturb mode. That's something I got to remember.
Yeah, do not disturb mode is another way. Another is on mobile phones. It's another way of doing that is also airplane mode on mobile devices, laptops, and tablets. There's a do not disturb mode, which means no notifications can come through, so you don't get disturbed. And also airplane mode, which is where it just turns off any communication between that device and any radio or Wi-Fi, Bluetooth signal to external nearby um, uh, devices. So it just doesn't
Oh,
disrupt,
cool.
doesn't create a signal, which is why it's called airplane mode. Because when you're in an aeroplane, they say if you got a device, mobile phone or a device, laptop, tablet, or any watch, just turn it on flight mode. Why? Because otherwise it disrupts the signals in the aeroplane, because there's lots of signals in the aeroplane communicating
Hmm.
with different parts of the aeroplane. So they just want to minimize, I guess, the plane
Well, that's
crashing.
a very, very good hint and tip. Thank you.
Great, awesome. And I think these hints and tips that I can share and I will share to help us relieve us from anxiety and stress and frustration. And one of the best ways to do that is, well, there's a couple of ways. One, you just ignore, just kind of like create that structure where when you're going to do something important, put your phone on flight mode or do not disturb mode. If you don't need to be contacted by anyone, then put your phone on airplane mode. If you need to be contacted by someone, but you just don't want to be notified, but you want to look at your phone when you choose to look at it, then do not disturb mode. This allows you to create a focus time window between the start of when you're going to do something and when you finish. So that's what do not disturb mode allows you to. You're in control, not somebody else or some marketing pop up uh, telling you to do something or distract you from what you're doing. And I think that actually contributes to um, a low attention span that a lot of people nowadays have. Why? Because you've got things like YouTube Shorts and Reels and Stories, and these are short um, advertising that a person or business has. It pops up again when you're on your browser, or when you're on your phone, on your laptop, and it can come up. And so to avoid that, to avoid the anxiety and stress of being disturbed, you want to stay focused on what you're doing. And whatever it is you're doing, if you want to be focused and you don't want to be disturbed, put your phone on airplane mode. If you're not interested in receiving any, or you don't need to use your device to communicate with outside with anyone else, or if you do need to communicate with the outside world and anyone, but you still need to stay focused on what you need to be doing, then do not disturb mode. So this will help relieve an anxiety and stress, because I think one thing I've heard a lot of people say is, "Oh, I keep getting these notifications," and then the first thing I say, "Okay, would you like to not receive them?" They go, "Yeah." I said, "Would you just not like to receive them for a particular period of time, or just for the whole day?" And they would tell me, and based on that, I would say, "Okay, this is how you can turn off notifications for that app completely, or this is how you can turn off notifications just for a period of time, and then you can turn it back on." And that has helped greatly and significantly. But it's just interesting that people have to be told that there is an option, because they don't know.
Yeah.
They just
No,
don't know.
we don't know. You just use the word app. What's an app?
Ah, app is short for the word application. So, for example, an application, or another word of it, this might be a better word, program. So back in the day, it used to be called programs. You might be familiar with programs. Nowadays, they've changed the word and they've called it an application, or they've made it even shorter, as an app. And there's a lot more. This is what's happening with so many things. That these businesses and corporations and whoever wants to decide to make something, they've decided to call something a particular word. Now, that could have been guidance from lots of research or marketing company that said, "Oh, don't call it a program, call it an app." It's got a
Yeah.
bit more of a ring to it than a program, doesn't it? Program is a little bit maybe boring, maybe so they thought, "Oh, we've got to make it sellable. Let's call it an app. Let's make it something fun to have and for people to want to have or be a part of, and have an ecosystem of apps." This is what app means. Application, another way of saying it, is a program.
Right. Now, V, let me ask you this before you carry on with your own agenda. You are superb in understanding people like me. Mature is the word that we like. Mature people. Are there organizations or are there businesses and so on that are renowned for thinking elderly as opposed to thinking either industrially or for the young?
I haven't come across any organization or company that have that level of thought and compassion for um, mature people. Um, There is the only place recently. I have got one here, but I've got one. I went to the fair and there was a company which does. It's an association of carers, and they provide help for the carers. So that's technical support with programs and apps and being online. So that's the only closest establishment which does something similar,
Yeah,
but not necessarily for mature people. It's mainly for the people that are going to be
right.
part of
So
a
you
carer.
are a very rare commodity.
Well, I mean, yeah, yeah, I guess so. I guess, but and the reason why you have to ask yourself, and I ask myself, so how come nobody's doing what I'm doing? Well, how come nobody's able or capable of doing what I'm doing? And the only answer I come to is the training that I was given, the training in life as well as in the monastery. We were trained as a novice monk. I think being around people who are humble, and I was a carer myself, looked after my father 24 hours a day for about 6 years. So I've seen, so therefore I've seen someone that's left their body, that's died, and then so I've got that level of compassion for um, growing old and then going through disease and old age and then death, because I've seen it. So I've got compassion for it. A lot of people haven't seen that, haven't seen a body burning on a funeral pyre, especially maybe their own family member.
Well, some of these big corporations could do very well with hiring you to advise them, because I was once looking at the audience figures and so on with the changes that are being made in television, and something like 80% of disposable income is held by people over 70.
Wow, wow,
It's a high percentage, isn't it? I was stunned.
wow.
But that's where the money is. But they don't. They go where the fads are.
Yeah, people are more interested in. I'm glad you said that because that's one thing I've noticed. All these companies are just focusing on position and fame to make a fortune. They're just stroking their own ego. They're not really doing something for the good or for people.
Yeah.
That's not in their
But
heart of
they should.
heart.
They should. If they got real savvy, they should realise that if that's where the money is, it's worth going after.
But then it would mean that they would have to have patience. It would mean that they would have to actually listen because they don't want to listen and they don't want to have patience. Nearly made you spit that out, didn't I?
You hit it on the head, my boy. You hit it on the head. Right. I'm sorry to interrupt with my red herrings. Away you go with the rest of your agenda.
Oh no, I love that. I love this conversation we have because it shows it's like I'm not saying what I think. I'm just sharing what I've heard, what people have said to me, and then you're then able to, with your stamp of approval, say absolutely yes, confirmed. So I really appreciate your input because otherwise people are not going to listen. If I'm saying it, you're saying it, they've got to they've got to listen. These
Well,
companies.
I live in a sort of microcosm at the moment in terms of my personal relationships. And I have to say that you're making quite a stir amongst some of the people that I know. And if that's the case, I think that you'll find that there are far more people listening to you and viewing you and saying, hey, 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 yes, that's helpful, and so on and so forth, than you realize. And that's often the way with television. Because we can't actually see our audience, we think that it's non existent. Whereas somebody is sitting in Australia at the moment looking at this and saying, hey, this guy knows it. Uh, may not bring you business immediately, but television is that sort of medium.
Yeah, I think that when people feel not relationship, but they feel related. There's or I can relate to what that person's saying or this person's saying. Which is the reason why there's so many different um, experts in a particular field. Let's call it personal fitness or mindset transformation or some kind of coach in something, or a mentor or a guide. Why are there so many in different fields? It's because not everyone can relate to that person. So, like, you might relate to me, but then someone else won't relate to me for whatever reason, and it doesn't matter what the reason is, which is why there's so much room for more people like me.
Mm. We need more people like you, but you are a pioneer. You're leading the pack. That's where you need to stay.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Yeah,
Right, away you
that's what
go.
I'm. Oh,
More of your sage advice.
ultimately, that's what it is, isn't it? Right? I'm sharing what will help people, and that's what's valuable for people. They don't want to feel anxiety and stress with their device. Oh, it's r- not staying on charge, or I'm not being able to make or receive calls, or it just causes us stress and anxiety. And it's better that in order for us to reduce that stress and anxiety, one thing I've discovered is to learn. So what I do is I provide training on a structured process and procedure and how to do particular tasks, and then with people on a one-to-one basis, and even in a group basis. And then uh, I could either write it down if it's one-to-one, or if that person says that's not going to stick for me, then I'll use their phone to record a video of how to do that task, and then it's on their phone. That tends to stay as well, more of a memory because you're watching the video again and again, and they find, oh, that's interesting, that's good. It's better than me writing on a piece of paper and forgetting about where it is. If I'm watching a video on how to do that task on my laptop, then I'm gonna find it easier to remember, and I wouldn't have to pay for you to come back to show me again, because I've noticed that, and that's again all down to listening. I always listen. What is the challenge for whoever's asking for help? And then if it happens again, even one more time, I like, right, this is a common issue. And then I find it happens with other people. Right, okay, this is the new solution. The new solution is, and I'm always upgrading and making it better for people. So whether it's written down instructions in a book or a video on their phone on how to do what they're trying to do, whatever's going to work. Just
Now,
that helps alleviate the anxiety and stress, because they're now in a position of knowledge. They've increased their knowledge, so they're now no longer fearful of that thing that had anxiety or stress about.
you talk to an awful lot of people in a day and a week. So listening, as you say, you listen carefully. Listening to what people say. What is the single most bothersome incident or issue on computer land that is making people either stressed or angry or upset? What is it? Is just one out of, well, I'm sure there are numerous. Just one that seems to be overriding the rest.
Passwords. That's it.
Yes, you hit it on the head.
That passwords is without a doubt the thing that is the worst. It causes people so much stress. For example, when people ask for help, it's usually when they want to move from one device to another. Um, and when you're doing something like that, when you're moving from one device to another, whether it's from an old phone to a new phone, or old laptop to a new laptop, or if the old device is completely died, and then I need to set up a new device, and they don't know what the passwords are. They don't know how to find their passwords. Yeah, so this is a common, very, very common issue that keeps coming up. Oh, another one, I would say closely to that, is when the home internet is changed. Let's say internet providers change. That doesn't happen that often, but let's just say it happens once every year or 2 years or whatever. It does happen. And then when everyone's trying to reconnect their devices back to the printer, I mean, back to the Wi-Fi router, the one device that they find very difficult to reconnect is the printer. Reconnecting the printer to the router, or connecting the a new printer to their device, their laptop or phone. They find it very difficult. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, I recognize both those as being stressful and difficult. Have you got any words of advice on either or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So it's not best practice to write your password down, but if you've got a safe in your house or a safe place where you know is protected and secure, um, having a little notebook, there's no harm in having a little notebook, just like where you would keep other confidential documents like your passport or your will or whatever, having a tiny little book which has got your passwords written down in it will save you a great amount of time and stress in when you lose your device or when you're upgrading your device. Saves a lot of time for yourself and also anxiety and stress. Similarly, the instructions for a so that's just your passwords and your usernames. And there's also other ways, like a lot of IT security people might say, use a password management tool, but that still requires you to have knowledge of how to use that password management tool. So that's another way. But nowadays, I would say what are the next best thing, apart from writing it down, is to use pass keys. Now, passkeys is different to passwords, um, and it just allows you to log into devices with your account instead of having to type in a password. But it still requires you to know something. A pass, you should have a device which you already have access to in order to set up passkeys. That is probably the most secure way using passkeys. And a not so secure way is writing it down in a little
Right.
notebook which you keep
And
safe.
how
You
do
know.
I get a pass key?
So nowadays, on your laptop, on your phone, things are now automatically moving across to passkeys. You might see that word. Do you want to set up a pass key or do you want to use a pass key? So once you've done it once you set it up once on whether it's your laptop or PC or your phone, it'll get stored. It'll say where do you want to store it. So some people choose to store it in Google Chrome. When you save passkey in Google Chrome, it's encrypted. It's kept. You don't actually see it as such. You don't see any passwords. It's just stored in a very highly secure way. So when it comes to a website that you need to log into, it will say, "Do you want to use your passkey?" And if you've already set it up, it will just sign you in without needing your username or password. That's why passkeys are a one-stop shop of highly secure way of keeping your credentials safe in a secure place. For example, like in Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge.
Well, now I come in from a walk or doing something outside, and I sit down. My head isn't totally cool or clear, and I say, "I'd like to set up a pass key because it sounds like a very good thing." Okay, I'd like to set up a pass key. What do I do?
Well, you pick up the phone and you give me a call. You give me a, and I'll come over and I'll help set it up on your devices and make sure it's set up. Once it's initially set up, obviously, people can search on the internet how to set up a pass key on Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge or Safari or some other browsers and like Mozilla Firefox. And you set up your pass key. Depending on if you've got a Windows or an Apple device, I can help you set it up on the different platforms.
Is it difficult?
No, no, it's not. It's just a matter of understanding what's the difference between a pass key and a password.
Right. Now let's change tack for a moment because I have here monthly brunch club. Last Wednesday of the month, starting the 29th of July. And then there is a cartoon with a figure that looks like you, uh, a few figures that look like the ladies and gentlemen of this place. Ask any questions about how to use your devices for free. The Brunch Club. Tell us about the Brunch Club.
Okay, well, I'm just going to grab a sheet of paper, which, funny enough, you're talking about it. So, this brunch club, which is coming up, um, like you said, the last Wednesday of the month, is just a chance for people to come uh, and ask any questions. Have a book. They can have a slot with me, depending on how busy it is. I'll start off with 15-minute slots. Obviously, if there's not many people, then during that time window, people can have a cup of tea, have a croissant, have a biscuit, or they can bring their own food and have it and have a tea or coffee there or herbal tea. And they can sit with me and ask questions, and then I can go through them, whatever the questions are, one to one. And then the next person comes, sits. I sit next to them, and I'll go through their questions with their device. Could be their phone, could be their tablet, could be their laptop, or it could be just question in general. How do I do this? How do I stop receiving all these emails that keep coming in? How do I stop these pop-ups? Or how do I set up a pass key? So I'll be able to answer any question that anyone's got. How do I make the best effective use of my device? How do I make sure I don't have to keep charging my device every day? Or what could be the cause of why I'm pressing this happens? So any question with their device, people can come in and meet me and have a cup of tea, coffee, a little bite to eat, and relieve themselves some anxiety. They can feel that they've got support. This is a drop-in session. It's free. It's for the residents of Clevedown.
Right, okay. Now, it's the residents of Clevedown, but I live just down the road. Am I welcome?
Oh, I haven't actually got clarification if I haven't thought about that. It's specifically only for residents of Clevedown, purely because this is in the building of Clevedown. Now, if this proves popular, future events we may be able to perhaps rent out a larger space if we need to, and open it up to anyone locally. Of maybe anyone in Lewis could come if it becomes very popular. Could do it once a week, and then have a venue with more facilitators, private rooms. If people wanted confidentiality when we're talking about whatever they want to talk about. Of course, if people wanted a private session, one to one, they can contact me. I can come meet them at their home. That's what I specialize in. But this is just a chance for people to come and see me, talk to me, and ask me questions. See if they want to work with me, because it's kind of like test it and try it kind of situation. You
Yeah.
know, it's like Marmite. Some people might like me, some people won't.
Yeah, we used to say that about Mirador. Some people hate us, some people love us, but nobody ever forgets us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I mean, I think that you've come up with some excellent ideas in terms of, creating forums or fora, perhaps it should be, forums for people to come and meet you and chat and so on and so forth. Uh, but I think that it is a good idea to think beyond Clevedown, um, because some of these things would appeal to a much wider congregation. I mean, it may be that you would hold one at the House of Friendship, for instance, which is a club, if you like, for older people and has got the space. Uh, I'm not suggesting that you move away from Clevedown, on the contrary. I think you're valued here very highly. But if you wanted to expand, I think some of these ideas are very good and deserve a wider, well, as I say, a wider congregation.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that would is a natural evolution, you see. Just like Richard Branson, he was standing in the phone, sitting outside a phone box, getting records for people. And now he owns train and plane and all sorts of,
Yeah.
industries. So it's a snowball effect. But he had to do something to see if people to see if if it worked. And then once he realized it worked, he was like, aha, I need to get some investors and pour some money into the marketing and grow this. So similarly with any business or any organization,
Yeah.
if there's a demand, you supply, and if you do it well, and if enough people know about you, then world's your oyster.
I can remember Branson getting going towards the end of the last, well, as midway through the last century. And I would get brochures with spectacular ideas. For instance, his offices were always country houses, never a block in the city. And he used to say, we look after our employees and they've got, nice views and they can breathe the fresh air and so on and so forth. It was revolutionary and it was impressive. And you may not have been able to access it, but you thought about it and you thought, yeah, what a good idea. Somebody is coming up with something well. So, yes, you're quite right. And a good model, if I may say so.
Awesome, great, thank you. Yeah, I mean, look at him. What you just said is exactly what it is. You've got to think outside the box. Don't do what other people have. Don't necessarily do what other people have done. And nowadays, people don't even read books. I asked this young lady in she must have been like early 20s, and I asked her, I said, what would you do if I had to promote my business? Because I was in the fish and chip shop, and I said, look, I've got these flyers. It's my new business. What would you consider a great marketing tactic? She goes, oh, I just go on TikTok or Instagram, and I would search for help with that with my phone. And I said, is that how you search for needing someone? She goes, yeah. And I thought, she didn't say get a book from the library or ask someone, straight over to the social media stuff. It's just um, uh, wow. There's no patience. Nobody wants. They want the answer quick. They want to know now. And yeah, I don't. I try not to. I learn from listening to people who have been there, done it. Listen to audiobooks, and I listen to people who are in person, who've experienced living that life of being a director of a company. So yeah, it's always good to avoid anxiety and stress and frustration. Find out how to do it well, and how not to do how not to use tech. Don't use tech like this. Don't use your phone like this. Don't use TikTok or Instagram or Facebook like this. It's a tool. Use it as a tool. Don't let it rule your life. Don't use it as a go-to for everything. You know, that's what I would say to relieve your anxiety, stress, and just increase your knowledge. I always share stuff to people, but I always ask them if they want to know. And if they want to know, I'll share them a link. Could be a YouTube link, or I could say, "Oh, this book's good. This book's good to help you with your back problem, or your wealth problem, or your relationship problem." And books are a very good way, very good way of increasing your knowledge and being confident.
We've been going for 40 minutes, 40 very interesting and great contributions to our not only how to reduce stress from this new technology, but how to understand it. And you'll be back this time next week.
That's
and
right.
For those people who are just tuning in and say, "Oh, damn it, I missed it," no, I shall repost this in about an hour, and then it is on YouTube and Facebook, and you're more than welcome to find us there, tap in, and see what V has to say about leaving stress behind and getting your computer working for you, not against you.
Yeah, and if anyone's got any questions answered on air for the next show, please type in the comments below or send a message to Mirador UK TV, or go to my website, get my number, technologysaints.co.uk, and my phone number is If you haven't got a pen and paper, this is the chance for you to grab your pen and paper, and I'll say my number. It's 07961 187 864. Thank you.
Say it again, because
Sure.
even if they didn't have pen and paper and they got it, they may well have written it very quickly and got your neighbour's number, who will then get pissed off with you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I know what it's like trying to struggle around. Where's the pen? Where's the pen? Where's the pen? So my phone number is on my website, which is technologysaints.co.uk, and the number is 07961 187 864. May the force be with you.
Have a great rest of the week. I should probably be talking to you anyway, but off air. Others who are getting used to this program and liking it, as I say, the programs are repeating, and V will be back with a fresh program this time next week. Until then, toodle pip.
Toodle pip.